Christianity spread. It's essentially the aristocrats would commission a book of beautiful paintings to spread the Christian message. And so I wanted to create my own devotional to my God, Chaos, and talk to like what it's like to be in Uganda right now, or what I think it's going to be like. The work sort of explores, I speak about like epigenetics, which essentially is gene expression that is formed on your DNA because of your environment. So I wanted to explore what the technology that we invest in as Uganda is going to do for our own gene expression and the evolution of our species. So like the first image is about surveillance and Uganda's investment in surveillance in some ways, and how living under surveillance is going to change us as human beings. And it goes on to explore all the ways in which I believe that being from the country we're in, we're most likely going to have to save ourselves, as opposed to rely on the technology and the state to bring in the solutions that we need to transcend the things that we experience. One of them, for example, is these suits that I made. I worked with a costume designer called Guy, and I wanted to sort of create a suit that will represent what it looks like if you saved yourself. What would it look like if you actually believed that there is a pandemic in these streets and that you need to protect yourself so that you and your family can, survive it. The alternative would be, of course, us having, the American backing or the Chinese backing to have all these suits made for us and make sure everyone has one. And I just don't see that future coming. So I wanted to use it as a tool to sort of carry on this message of what it looks like to save yourself, and as well as juxtaposing like the ideas of, sometimes even in that first image, the idea that you'll almost likely be a capitalist experience where people who care enough will be able to afford these suits, and people who don't believe that there is actually that much of a threat to your life will, sort of observe on the sidelines. My work is all wrapped in plastic that is recycled plastic that was taken out of the gutters and washed and pressed again by this amazing wastepreneur called Reform Africa by Faith Aweko. She takes these sheets and takes them out of the gutter, cleans them, and then presses them together and creates bags and other utensils out of them. And I wanted to use them for art and see the ways that they can contribute to sort of our actual experience. We generally like to ignore how much plastic we're surrounded by, but if you go into the right areas, you'll recognize that all our stories and our romances and whatever's going on in our lives is pretty much wrapped in a huge amount of plastic waste. So I really wanted to keep, and I want to keep that as an ongoing material that I work with to express something that I think a lot of African artists are expressing, which is, how are we going to make use of, how are we going to salvage our society with all the waste that we're creating. So each of the works sort of speaks to an independent approach to what it's like to survive Kampala. This one, for me, for example, is about what it will take is usually your tools or your talent to transcend the Ugandan experience to survive the challenges that come with being in this city or this state. And I've managed to get a really talented Ugandan artist and dancer to propose for me. That is Kathy Kawesa. And the guy that talks is a knife sharpener, which is mostly about the tools, the most rudimentary tools that it would take for you to save yourself if you're lucky. I don't really want to say much more about the work. It sort of speaks for itself. It's mostly about the chaos of being Ugandan or being in Uganda, and all the small sort of expressions of survival and what they look like. Enjoy.
Thank you.